Lorsque nous réfléchissons aux impacts lors de ces dernières années difficiles, nous ne pouvons pas nier l'importance ni l'appréciation du travail de l'éducatrice et l'éducateur de la petite enfance. Surtout lorsqu'on pense aux impacts significatifs sur nos environnements de travail, le domaine de la petite enfance, sur les parents et surtout vous-même. Bonjour, je me présente, mon nom est Julie Cyr et je serai votre animatrice. Je suis la gestionnaire des services à la petite enfance avec l'Ottawa-Carleton District School Board. J'ai l'honneur de vous présenter ce vidéo « Ton bien-être au travail » avec Dre Jean Clinton, psychiatre et défenseuse des intérêts des enfants en matière de santé mentale ainsi que la profession des EPEI.
Boy, oh boy, what a time this has been. We're living in what Dan Siegel, one of my heroes, talks about as VUCA times. So, and you know exactly what he's talking about because they are volatile, they're uncertain, they're complex and ambiguity, uncertainty, not knowing what's coming next. That is the world that we're living in. So what does it mean? As professionals, it's really time to think about building a new way. But in order to live and deal with VUCA times, we really need to be thinking about not the weekend away, but what am I going to do for self-care in my everyday work? It's so hard, you know, people think self-care means selfish. You know, in these times, it really is a professional responsibility to look after yourself so that you can be there for yourself, for your colleagues, for the kids and for the families. So that means you're going to have to figure out what's the stressor going on in the moment, you know, as the toddlers are discombobulating and all the infants are crying. Oh man, focus on your breath. It takes what? How long did that take? Just a couple of seconds. But it changes your biology. Now, am I here sitting saying, here's Jean Clinton saying, oh, well, you know, the world's going to be perfect if you just frickin' take some breaths. No, I understand how complex the world is that you're living in. And so this really is hopefully something that you can use for your own world to recognize your own physiology, how your face is getting red or your hands are getting tighter or your tummy's churning. Help you recognize what the triggers are, watch for them, and what to do when those triggers go kaboom.
C'est utile de s'arrêter et de réfléchir avant de sauter vers les stratégies et les astuces. Prenez un moment afin de penser aux raisons pour lesquelles vous avez choisi le domaine de la petite enfance en premier lieu. Qu'est-ce qui vous a attiré à ce genre de travail? Pourquoi que c'est significatif et déterminant? C'est quoi que vous trouvez agréable?
What we know about looking after your own mental and emotional health is that you have to do some thought replacement, if you like. You have to be recognizing now is a moment, but there are so many other moments that I need to pull in and wrap around me for when the times have been good. But you know, the reality is you have been working your little hands and feet and other body parts off, and you have not been valued for the work that you've done. And so many of you are feeling what's called compassion fatigue. It's really, really hard to find the strength within you to keep on going. So here are some practical things to think about. One is give yourself permission to take breaks. Now, a break doesn't mean that you go off for half an hour. No, not in the world of the early years. But give yourself mental moments, brain breaks. Take in micro seconds of saying, I am going to be fully present in the moment that I am in now. Now is the only moment. Focus on that. and then you can get on with the rest of your day. The other thing is grounding techniques, and that is to stop as you're feeling this fluster or whatever your trigger is, whether it's fluster, whether it's heat, that you stop and say, okay, right now, I am going to find 5 things that I can see, and I'm going to name them. I'm going to see 4 things that I can smell or touch. These are grounding techniques. They bring you from that frenzied non-focus to a complete focus. And that really helps you. The other thing that I've learned so much from Dr. Stuart Shanker and Susan Hopkins is that if instead of reacting to what's happening around you, you stop and you say, why? Why this behavior in this child or this colleague or this family? Why? And why now? For the kids, you've learned to be stress detectives, to figure out what domain, where are they feeling that big stress? Well, you know what? Now is such a time to really be thinking about why for me and why now for me. So here's another great tip that I kind of suck at, but still I'll tell you it. And that's to let go of things when you're not at work. Let it go and think about disconnecting. I know I am the worst at this, but you know, if you can give yourself time at home just to be present, to be compassionate to yourself, that is you taking on responsibility in a professional way. Too many people are experiencing anxiety, mental distress, because they're focusing on things that they cannot control. They're letting things boil and fester away. Don't do it. When there's an issue, figure out the strategy to bring it forward. Focus on the things that you can control. Let go of the things that you can't control. That's a pattern of people who are resilient. They don't waste their time saying, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why now? Like my friend Kathy Lee's grandmother says, if you fall in a pile of manure, get up, brush yourself off, and get on. So think about how you can absolutely spend your healthiest mind time focusing on what will make me well.
Lorsque nous misons sur les choses dont nous pouvons contrôler, il y a un point de départ évident, nous-mêmes. Notre profession prend soin des autres, mais combien de fois prenons-nous soin de nous-mêmes? Sommes-nous à l'aise à demander non seulement ce que nous avons de besoin, mais surtout donc ce que nous méritons?
So here's the thing now. We're going to talk about you being an advocate for yourself. Yes, you heard that right. You, as a registered early childhood educator, saying, I deserve the respect and the dignity of my profession from everybody. You know, as I think about it, you have been taking so much in from families who are stressed, from owners and operators and supervisors, and then you're also getting frickin' kicked. So no wonder sometimes you feel like, just make it stop, I've had enough. But you have every right to say, I have needs. Use your voice. Make sure that when there are tensions in the workplace, that you bring them forward. You don't let them boil and fester like we talked about before. Give yourself permission and the dignity of saying, I matter. Your sense of belonging, of connection to the work that you do is so important for your health. But you know, that's me talking as a shrink. What's really important is that you figure out what's really important to you. What in your work, in your world, in your relationships, what are you strong in? What do you need some more help with? Who can be your support? It's so crucial that you spend time being that reflective, stop and think about it practitioner. Because, if you don't know what your own needs are, if you don't stop and think about what you yourself need, and by the way, we kind of suck at this as a species, a lot of us, but if you don't stop and think about, well, what is it that I need just now? You won't ever be able to know, who do I ask? How do I build it around me? So if it's support that you need in dealing with challenging families, if it's support that you need in dealing, I hate to say it, but I know it's true, sometimes it's dealing with a difficult supervisor who themselves are stressed to the max. Learn how you can absolutely make that work for you. How do you do it? You prepare, you plan, you bring in and out that inner self that says, I am worth it. Be assertive. Get it in writing. Give yourself permission. You deserve it. You have the right to it. Go get it.
Quand nous réfléchissons sur nos points forts et nos points à travailler, pensez à ce que Jean dit. Créez un plan pour aller de l'avant. Concentrez-vous sur ce que vous pouvez contrôler. Renouez avec vos objectifs et votre raison d'être. Vous plaidoyez toujours pour les enfants et les familles dans votre travail. De quelle façon pourriez-vous utiliser vos habiletés et de vos expériences afin de plaidoyer pour vous-même?
So, we've talked about self-advocacy. Now let's talk about advocating for the profession. So let me give you my thoughts on that. Even though I said in the last little clip that you're going to be thinking about your own strengths. But what I think is your best way to advocate for the profession is to show your professionalism. You are the best people in the universe who knows about child development, who know about environments as being teachers. You know what it is that families need. You know how to embrace and support the professional development. You know when things are not right, that you've got avenues to make them so with your codes of standards. You're well trained, you're educated, you're registered early childhood professionals. You've got this background, and you are, just like we have in medicine, you have continuous educational objectives that you follow. You're so important to our society. The work that you do is foundational to the well-being of our society. You're human developers. As you know, if you've heard me speak before, you're brain builders, you're neuroplasticians. But you know what's the other part of this? Is you do it all with a loving wholeheartedness. You bring joy to the lives of children. You do it through play. You know that I believe strongly that love builds brains. Loris Malaguzzi from Reggio Emilia said, "Nothing without joy." I love the fact that love builds brains. And you're building the brains of the children and their families. But you're also building your own brain. When you are advocating for your profession, for yourself, you are building the capacity in others to get you, to understand the important work that you do. Your work, your love for what you do is actually changing the world. Love builds brains.
Quelle belle façon de terminer ce vidéo sur ton bien-être au travail. L'amour et la compassion pour vous-même, vos collègues, votre profession, ainsi que les enfants et les familles que vous appuyez. Merci d'avoir visionné cette vidéo. Je suis votre animatrice Julie Cyr. Soyez à l'affût du deuxième vidéo de cette série avec Dre Jean Clinton. Votre cerveau au travail.